Hey everybody, welcome to Meet the Authors. My name is George Carroll, and my special guest that I'm interviewing here, her name is Patty Alfonso, and she is the author of Your Body is the Creation of Consciousness. I've got my Kindle version right here. Patty, how are you, sister?
Hi, I'm good. How are you? Thank you so much for having me here. I'm super excited to play and talk about what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, 'cause you are on such a roller coaster ride. It's very inspiring to watch. And before we jump into some of the magic that's in your book, tell us more about the work you're doing in the world, and the magic that you bring to planet Earth.
Absolutely. Hmm, well, I'm an Access Consciousness certified facilitator. So I like to say that I am a facilitator of consciousness, and my specialty, one of them, is around bodies and your business and creation, which hence the book Your Body as the Creation of Consciousness. I created a class called Pole Dancing for Consciousness, which obviously is about having more communion with your body, having that connection with your body that will create more ease and space for you in your life. I do a lot of online classes and workshops, and I'm going to be launching my very own online show in the next couple of weeks. So I'm super excited about that. Um, yeah, I love playing. I love playing with bodies. I love playing with businesses and expanding everything that has anything to do with those areas. So that's what I do in the world.
Right on. And your newest creation, your book, Your Body as the Creation of Consciousness. I'm just starting to dabble into it, and I wanted to just kind of share three words that you offer at the beginning, which is awaken, embody, and unleash. So awaken is to spring into being, arise, originate, to wake up, to rouse from sleep, to stir up, rouse to activity. So tell us more about some of the magic that people will find in your book.
Yeah, awakening, to just rouse from sleep. What I have found in the work that I do is in that sort of functioning from the head up that we are conditioned to do in this reality, where it's a lot about thinking and what's in your head and all of that. And for me, awakening is awakening your body, awakening your senses. And when I first began to do all of the healing work that I've done, one of the things that came up for me very strongly that I've seen in a lot of the clients that I work with and in the classes is that sense of our bodies being locked down. Whatever has occurred or has been created in your life, whether it's, financial abuse, spiritual abuse, the insanities of this reality, our bodies are so aware and so sensitive that unless we include our bodies in our lives, we end up subconsciously shutting our bodies down, whether it's from the sensations and the pleasures of this reality, or whether it's just from the fun and the joy of having a body. So for me, awakening is about awakening all of that, and creating that communion with your body so you can create and have more. When I started unlocking my body and being more present with my body, that's when pole dancing for consciousness showed up. And in that, I went from having a small private practice, in Los Angeles to a global business. And that's because I began to include my body in my business and what I was creating.
Awesome, awesome. So tell us more about and maybe you touched on it, but what was the inspiration to get this book into the world and into the hands of people out there?
Yeah, it was something that had been in my awareness for a long time. And the inspiration, and I think you say this a lot in your mastermind group, there's no one that can tell your story the way that you can tell your story. And the things that I had been through in my life, the things that I had created, and in the long run, how all of that contributed to the life that I have now, to really being able to have gratitude for everything and including everything. And how much more can you create when you do that? Shutting down, locking up, trying not to be aware of something, all of that just cuts out the possibilities of life. But when you open up to all of that and allow everything to kind of be released from your body and be part of your life, all of that can contribute to something greater. And I just happen to have a target that if every man and woman had total communion with their body, total gratitude with their body, included their body, like I think our world would be a really, really different place. So that was definitely part of the inspiration. Like, hey, look, this is what I've been through. This is what my life was like. These are the tools that I use to change it, and what's available for you. So that was my inspiration.
I love it. Brilliantly said. And so is there like, just kind of off the top of your awareness, is there a tip or a tool that you can maybe offer here that's maybe in the book or maybe not in the book that can help people reconnect with their bodies?
Yeah. I mean, I love dancing. So moving your body. As an entrepreneur, I spend a lot of time in front of my computer, sitting, creating, doing classes, doing a lot of things on the computer. I think a lot of us nowadays do. And I would just tell people, get up and go move, whether you like to do yoga or run or walk, or maybe you don't have time for that. You just get up and flip on a song and let your body just move the way that it desires to move, whatever it is that it wants to do, whether it's silly and funny, or, maybe you want to stomp around, or maybe you just want to like slink in your bed, whatever it is, would you be willing to allow your body to have that space and not judge it? And when you move, like I said, with the lockdown in the body, there's a certain amount of movement that's required to open that up and release it. So yeah, get up and move, flip on a song, have fun. That's for sure what I would tell people, like just to at least start there, get moving and stop judging.
Get moving and stop judging. I love it. And I'm totally with you. It's, our bodies aren't designed to sit at a computer for 8 hours a day. They are designed to move and shake and rattle and roll. And so I love this tip that you offer. With the creation of your book, tell us more about some of the challenges that maybe you faced along the way. And I know through your process, it happened pretty wham, bam, thank you, ma'am kind of thing. Maybe you didn't have any challenges, but tell us, were there some challenges that showed up along the way?
Yeah, I joined your mastermind program. I think it was October 2015. And it was this sense of like, okay, now is the time. Like this book has been talking to me for a long time. It's there. It's something that I've had within me. My first book, right? There's many more to come. Something that I've had within me to get out into the world. And so when I joined your mastermind, at first it was like all super flowing and I started writing, and I'm very autistic, so I do things a little bit differently. And so I started writing and editing and doing the formatting like all at once. It all created that space for me. And then I remember I hit a sort of stop moment. And I think that there was a level of vulnerability that was required for the book that I hadn't really quite gotten to. I was writing about my childhood and what I had gone through, and there was vulnerability, but I felt like there needed to be more. And so I stopped. And I remember we had a coaching session during that time, and I became aware that I had just become aware of all of the sort of judgments and projections and like these fears of how this information would be received and what would my family think, and all this just stuff started coming up. And so I think that was the first time where there was a bit of a stop. Now, the thing is that I didn't actually stop. I just kind of switched tracks, and being in your mastermind invited me into like a different level of creating. So then I started creating more teleclasses and webinars. And then through that, it opened up the space for more to show up. And so after a few months of creating those calls and getting everything transcribed, and then this other time came where it's just like, okay, now is the time. And what I had realized also was that I wasn't really sitting down and making the time to write every day. I was traveling a lot, I was creating a lot, I was doing a lot of classes. And so making the time to just really sit and write, just keep writing is what you were always saying to us. I wasn't doing that. So the book was like, now. And I was like, okay. And then I was like, okay, body, where would be a contribution to write this book? Body, where do we need to go to get this done? And I would look at different places, like I was looking at renting an apartment or going over here, and I'd go into the apartment and be like, okay, body, can we write this book here? Body, can we write this book here? Body, show me the energy of where we're going to be able to get this done. And then I got the energy of the ocean and the beach. And to make a long story short, I blocked off 2 weeks in my schedule where I had nothing. I went off to the Cayman Islands. I found an Airbnb in a remote part of town that was literally right on the beach. And I sat down and I just wrote. And 5 days later, I had my first draft. And then 2 weeks later, maybe 3 weeks later, I launched, and within a day became an international bestseller. So there you go.
Wow.
From
Wow,
challenges to total success,
That's so inspiring, because I think that, people get in their mindset that writing a book will take years, and sometimes it does. But you're obviously an example that says, hey, it can be done quickly if you're tapping into the energy and even using your body as a tool to lead you and to guide you. What would you say to somebody who is right there? They've been thinking about writing a book. Maybe they've been told that they need to write a book. They're right there. What would you say to somebody who's right at that cusp?
Your famous words, just keep writing. And then really look at what's going to work for me. Everybody does things differently. It works just different for everyone. So what is going to work for you? And body, include your body. Body, what's it going to take for us to get this done? What's the energy that's required for this to finally be birthed? I mean, you're birthing something, right? You're birthing a new creation, and including your body in that creation, in my point of view, is really important. There were times at the Cayman Islands where I was sitting and I was writing and writing and writing, and then my body would just have to get up and move. So I'd get up, I'd go to the beach, I'd get in the water, I'd be in the sun. Okay, body, what's next? What else do you want to say? I mean, the book is Your Body as the Creation of Consciousness. That book was a total collaboration between me, my body, and consciousness. So what if you could include all of that in your writing process? And what is it that's required for you in order to explode, unleash everything into the world that you're here to gift?
Awesome. Awesome. I love the analogy of birthing the book into creation. And, I always tell people, being a new dad of a 6-month-old baby boy, you're never fully ready to have a kid. And it's very similar to writing a book. You're never going to be 100% ready to write a book. You just got to go. And like Patty says, just keep writing. And obviously with her, she's got a very unique and powerful process in connecting with her body, connecting with consciousness to see, okay, what's the next step? Where do you want to lead me, guide me? Where's the most generative place to create this? So Patty, being part of the mastermind, what was it you found that was most valuable for you in the process of writing your book?
Well, first of all, the guidance that you provided in all of your experience in writing and publishing your own books, that was invaluable. I absolutely had no idea about publishing or self-publishing. I had nothing. I just knew that there was a book that I had to write. So having all of your expertise in that area was phenomenal. And that's sort of what I got out of the first time I went around the program, was like the sort of nuts and bolts of writing. And then the second time the program started, what I received from there was the energy of contribution from the group. That sort of forward momentum energy of everybody who was creating. That was just invaluable, even though there were times because of my travel schedule that I couldn't be live on the calls. Having the recordings, being able to tune into the energy and to perceive everyone supporting and contributing and creating was absolutely, I mean, Yeah, I don't think I could have done it without you guys. So, and my body and consciousness. But you know, it's always amazing to have a group of people that are going to have your back and support you. And when I would pop in for, you know, hey, can you guys help me with this, or is someone willing to help me with that? There was always someone there who was willing to contribute. So that was a big gift in that sense.
That's huge, you know, and now that you've gone through the process, you've published your book, it's an international bestseller in how many different countries?
8 different countries.
Wow.
Of course, I'm very cute. I picked a launch date when I was going to be traveling from Denver to New York. So I left Denver at like 7 in the morning. I made a couple of Facebook posts. I made a couple of like automated, you know, things on my email list. And by the time I landed in New York, I was already a bestseller, I think in 5 countries. And by the end of the day, I had made it to 8, from Japan to Hungary to India to the US to Canada. I mean, Australia. It was really, really, really amazing.
Wow. So for those of you watching this, I mean, let Patty be an example that, you know, there was a point in time when she didn't know anything about how to publish a book. And simply by making the decision, plugging herself into a container of other people who are on a similar journey and being willing to write consistently and follow the energy, and also, you know, being willing to ask for help when she needed it. You've seen her go from pretty much, you know, the be knowing to now being an international bestseller in 8 different countries. Amazing, Patty.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. So if people want to get their hands on this bad boy, where do they go?
Well, the Kindle version is on Amazon.com. So you can just look up Patty Alfonso or Your Body as the Creation of Consciousness. And then if you're curious, but you're not quite just ready yet, I do have a free chapter download at yourbodyisconsciousness.com. So there's 2 ways in which you can either get the full shebang if you're ready to go and create more with your body, or just get a little taste to see what it's all about. And you know what, George, it's so cool because I also ended up creating a bonus membership site for the book, which also was part of what my original vision of the book was to have not just the book, but to have an accompanying site that had even more tools and more things to play with. So yeah, I mean, for everyone watching, what else is possible? What is it that you're aware of that you can create that no one else can create in the world? And I created all of that in like 2 weeks. It is possible. And even George inspired me for that. I remember having a conversation with you, George, where you're like, look, I just did it. I sat down and in 3 weeks, I got it done. And I was like, okay, I can do that. I will have that. So what is it that you would like to have, you know, that you would like to create that is beyond anyone else's ideas of what's possible? What miracle can you be in your life and for your creations? So, yeah. And how much fun can you have doing it?
Awesome. Yeah, beautiful questions to end us here. And, you know, one thing that I'll leave y'all with is that the 2 primary things, and I say this all the time, the 2 primary things that get in the way of somebody finishing their book is, you know, we get that droplet of inspiration saying, hey, it's time to write your book. And what happens is people start writing their book, and then the first time they get stuck, because they don't have any support, they don't have any accountability, they tend to put their book off for a day. The day turns into a week turns into a month turns into a year. And most people go their entire lives without getting that story out of them into a book and leaving a legacy in a sense. And the second biggest reason is because the education piece. You know, most people have no idea where to start. They have no idea what the publishing industry looks like in today's day and age. And they have no idea how simple it can be once you educate yourself. And, you know, we bring all of that into the mastermind. So Patty, thank you so much for being a part of this interview and inspiring people. Thank you so much for the work that you're doing in the world. I'm really excited to, oh, by the way, if you want to see Patty in person, you got to come to Denver, Colorado, January 13th through the 15th. She's going to be a guest speaker at my yearly event called The Greatest Year of Your Life. And you do not want to miss that event. So thanks again, Patty, for being amazing and bringing your work into the world.
Yay. Thank you, George. Thank you for having me. And thank you for the inspiration that you've been to me in my life as well. So how does it get better?
Now does it. Thank you, Patty. Thank you, everyone. Take care.
Bye, everyone.